Today on the CTV News at 5, one man is dead in a fatal industrial accident at a Lethbridge business. Plus, the U of L is named the best in the country in undergraduate research universities. And a new child and family services building opens on the Piikani First Nation, and it's made out of old shipping crates.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Police are at the scene of a fatal industrial accident in North Lethbridge. A 35-year-old man is dead after an accident at Mo Tires in the 2800 block of 5th Avenue North. A sign on the door says the business was closed this afternoon due to a medical emergency. Co-workers were visibly shaken up by the accident, we've been told. The death happened outside in the tire yard. Police were seen conducting measurements around a front-end loader. Alberta Occupational Health and Safety investigators are also on the scene. No other information has been released at this time. A BC border guard shot in the neck remains in stable condition in hospital. Laurie Bocock is new to Canada Border Services, having worked as a police dispatcher in Ontario until just this past spring. Maria Weisgarber has more from the Peace Arch border crossing in Surrey.
Investigators are trying to determine why a Canadian border guard was shot while on the job at the Peace Arch border crossing.
We heard a couple loud bangs. I wasn't sure it was gunshots at first, but then we heard some screaming and yelling.
It happened around 2 o'clock. Police say a man in a white van with Washington plates drove up to the border and shot the guard and then shot himself.
We could hear them yelling and screaming, "Get down, get out, get down on the ground, and get out of the car."
The guard was airlifted to Royal Columbian Hospital with serious injuries. Police sealed off the border in both directions. They plan to look at surveillance video from the crossing and also speak to witnesses who were in the lineup.
We're working right now with all available resources at the scene to try to establish exactly the sequence of events that took place between the arrival of this individual to the Peace Arch crossing.
Investigators are still trying to determine a possible motive. They aren't able to say yet if there may be any connection between the victim and the shooter.
Every time an officer is injured in the line of duty, it is something that hits very close to heart. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the officer.
Forensic investigators worked into the night, scouring the scene and the van, which remained parked at the crossing for hours, some of its windows covered in tarp. There are reports U.S. police visited a home in Bremerton, Washington that may be linked to the investigation. Police here are also working with American law enforcement in the hopes of learning more about the suspect and why this happened.
Now, not all Canadian border guards are allowed to carry guns. The federal government's plan is to have them all armed by 2016. Dory's here with our first look at the forecast, and temperatures return to the teens for Thursday, Friday, but a change is coming.
Yeah, there is a change coming, and right now it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of precipitation attached to it. There's a chance of some flurries as we get into the beginning of the work week, but the real weather shock will be the fact that single-digit values, low single-digit values, will be our daytime high. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you, Dory, I think. Workers at XL Foods have been laid off once again, just a day after 800 returned to work at the beef processing plant. They were also told to not come in today. Riley Carlson joins us from Brooks. And Riley, the community is really rallying around the workers during this challenging time.
That's right, Jackie. Inside this fire hall, actually, a steering committee of organizations has been meeting, seeing what they each have that they can offer as far as services go to the workers in the community that have been affected by these layoffs. Now, these organizations are people like the Food Bank, people like the United Way, even Immigration Services that are trying to identify some of the gaps in service that the laid off workers may experience over the next couple of days, depending, of course, on how long this closure continues. Now, estimates from the mayor's office today said as much as $250,000 in wages a day could be lost because of these layoffs at the plant. And they're worried, of course, about the effect that will have long term on the economy here, not only in the city of Brooks, but also in the county of Newell as a whole. Now, when asked today if they had heard anything from XL Foods, the employer, of course, of all of those people at the plant just outside of Brooks, the answer simply was no. They have not been involved in any of this community organization activity, and they haven't been in communication with the mayor's office. Jackie?
Okay, thanks, Riley. The University of Lethbridge has been named Canada's top undergraduate research university. Rankings by Research Info Source show the U of L has jumped from 9th to 1st among 22 institutions in the undergraduate category. Research income at the U of L has increased by more than 38% over the past year alone. The ratings are also based on the intensity of research, the publications, and impact of publications. Staff hope the recognition will help attract even more students to the U of L.
We really want students all across Canada, all across the world, to know that when you come to the University of Lethbridge, you get more than just a classroom experience. You get a real integrated experience with respect to research and education.
When you do research, you get to explore those theories in depth, ask interesting questions, and then try and find the answers to things that nobody else has before.
The university also ranked 3rd for growth and then moved from 35th to 32nd in overall funding research. The Piikani First Nation is celebrating the opening of a new Child and Family Services building. Until now, the services have been located in 3 run-down and outdated buildings on the reserve. Child and Family Services provides protective services and looks after the well-being of children. Families are supported through self-development, healing, and wellness programs. Now, the new building was actually constructed out of 14 converted shipping containers. Band officials say the project incorporates forward thinking, technology, and sustainable materials.
It's kind of like the ideal situation that nobody else has been able to have such a unique building.
Our goal is to create more positive outcomes for children and to kind of move families forward in many ways around culture, around stability, and around more healthy lifestyles.
The Piikani Nation has about 3,000 band members. Some of southern Alberta and the East Kootenay's best businesses were celebrated today by an organization celebrating its own celebration, its centennial. CTV's Dory Rossiter handed out awards at the Better Business Bureau's Business Ethics Awards. The organization was founded in 1912 to focus on deceptive advertising, but soon became known for exposing swindlers and fraudsters. Every year they help 1 million Canadians resolve complaints with businesses. They have a brand new smartphone app and do most of their business online. Every month, more than 8 million people check out their website.
Our Better Business Bureau websites in North America are in the top 400 visited websites in North America. So that means people are coming to us first, doing the research, finding out about the companies, looking at the consumer tips, and that's what we want them to do.
Carefree Kitchens and Lighting, Ultra Battery, Richardson Oilseed, and the Interfaith Food Bank all took home Business Ethics Awards today. While it remains a bad habit on our roads, texting and driving, despite laws across the country against it, thousands of drivers are still driving distracted. Now, a Quebec coroner is recommending people caught texting behind the wheel should have their devices confiscated. Tanya Kriwek has more.
Don't text and drive. We've heard the warnings, yet it seems so many people still do it.
Oh, it's crazy the amount of people who text while drive.
Do you see a lot of people doing it?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
In just a couple of blocks, we caught 3 drivers texting.
You just give all your attention to the text and you don't watch the road, and it's really dangerous.
The law says you can't handle a cell phone while driving. If caught, you face a $100 fine and could lose 3 demerit points. But now a coroner says that isn't enough. People caught texting while driving should have their phones confiscated for 30 days. Some agree.
But I guess that would get people to stop doing it.
Drinking and driving. You confiscate the car. Why don't you confiscate the phone?
Others don't see the point.
I don't think so, because if we were really with it, we just go get another phone for the temporary time that our phone... In fact, it makes no sense at all.
The recommendation follows coroner Michel Ferland's report into the deaths of Vincent Lamoureux and Hugo Pereira. The 2 went missing in October 2010 after a night of clubbing. Their car and bodies were pulled a week later from the Rivière des Prairies. Speed, alcohol, and texting were all factors in the crash. The CAA says people need to be reminded of the dangers.
Would you drive for 5 seconds, close your eyes while driving at 70 kilometers? Nobody would say, yes, I will do it. But it's what people do when they text and drive.
The head of the Quebec Road Safety Task Force says confiscating cell phones is an interesting proposal, but says awareness campaigns like this SAAQ ad are what will make a difference.
If we really want to change this behavior, we have to do more awareness campaign, because a lot of drivers are not aware that it's really dangerous to text and drive, for instance.
But these 2 deaths, another reminder that this habit can be deadly. Tanya Kriviak, CTV News.
Last year, 57,000 tickets were given for texting and driving in Quebec alone. So speaking of phones, where do most people accidentally destroy their iPhone? If you guessed the toilet, you'd be wrong. A new survey shows 51% of destroyed iPhones meet their end in their owner's home. 21% destroyed in the kitchen. Only 9% of iPhone owners who destroy their phone actually drop it in the toilet, or at least admit to it. Others soak it in soda, beer, coffee, or tea. Americans alone spent $5.9 billion on damaged iPhones last year. Coming up next in the markets, the loonie closed higher today, but still above parity now. Here are the day's numbers.